This is Sonal from USA, and as promised, today I'm going to come with the interesting vlogs. I'm here with a very interesting vlog for you guys. And today is Thanksgiving, so happy Thanksgiving, and really thank you from bottom of my heart for giving me so much love and trust, faith, and coming up with so much question. It really feels so good to me that when you come and ask me questions, that I can share information, I can get more information for you and help you in a way I can. So thank you so much for that. Thank you for participating in my giveaway, and stay tuned for today's interesting vlog. We are going to meet Shubham today, he just appeared for his F1 visa, and let's hear it from him how his journey from his engineering to MS, F1, and everything that you want to know. So let's get started. Hey Shubham, how are you?
Hey Sonal, I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. So finally we are meeting after a long back and forth which was going on. So I'm so glad to
Yeah,
have you on
fine.
my channel. Before we start, I just want to give you a brief about my channel that I am Sonal and my channel name is Sonal from USA. This channel is basically for students, immigrants who come on different visa types. So I have so much experience in HR. I like to help people, and I'm also mentor on many forums to help people doing career shift, guide them through the entire process, and also helping students, and students are helping me to, tell their experience. What is your background, and why you decided to come for MS?
Thank you for inviting me over your channel. So I did my undergraduate in electronics engineering from IIT BHU in Varanasi. I
Wow.
graduated in 2017, and since then I have been working in Citigroup. So I worked there for 3 years, and if everything were to be normal, I thought that everything was normal, so I resigned in March and I quit in May. And so I decided to go for my master's. Actually, I decided way back in college only. But since I got a job, so I thought that getting a work experience would be better before going for master's.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I took 3 years of work experience before applying to different universities.
Excellent. So you took 3 years of work ex and then you decided to do MS. And also you mentioned that Shubham, you did it from IIT BHU, which is fantastic. I mean, I'm at least talking to somebody from IIT on my channel for the first time. And for this kind of interview, because I have interviewed a lot of candidates in my profession, but normally it's for hiring. Because I'm from IT
Okay.
company and I get a lot of people, who are from different backgrounds. So that is kind of a interview that we do in HR. But this is a different kind of
Yeah.
experience that I'm going to take it from you. So I'm going to absorb from you to understand, how you think and, how typically, how your experience has been. So after IIT BHU, you said that you took 3 years of experience. And I have seen a trend that, at least I have done B school recruiting a lot in US. I have seen that people normally tend to go for masters in business administration. So what made you think of masters in, science or technology?
So actually, right from my undergraduate starting, I was interested in data science and this machine learning thing
Wow.
because it was very new back then.
Mm-hmm.
So I knew that this was something that I had to do, and I was already interested in. So I also did two foreign internships in them. One was in South Korea and one was in Belgium.
Wow.
Right after my second year and third year.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought to myself that since I was never interested in marketing or MBA kind of thing. So
Okay.
I was always interested in technology.
Uh-huh.
So I thought to myself that since I have already got two foreign internships, and so why not go for MS? And this is something that I am always interested in. So that's why I chose MS and not marketing.
Okay, perfect.
So,
Okay. I mean, MBA doesn't
yeah.
mean marketing. There are many other streams, but I understand what you're
Yeah,
saying. You're more technologically oriented.
correct. So
That's
recently I got interested in finance, but that would come under data science also. I can also work in finance with data science, so no need to go for MBA.
absolutely, absolutely. And there are a lot of, avenues there. I will talk about it when we come to the MS part of it for you. So that's
Okay.
excellent. I mean, you know exactly what is your inclination and why you wanted to do MS. So, can I ask you your GRE TOEFL score? Normally, people really want to know when somebody goes to the best university, what is the GRE score that typically university wants. And what was your score?
Yeah, sure. So actually, I gave my GRE twice. Uh,
Okay.
so yeah, first time I got 324. I was advised that a score above 325 is good, and that will help you get into top university.
Mm-hmm.
So the first time I got a score of 324 with 166 in quants and 158 in verbal. And so I was not satisfied with my quant score. I believe that I could score full and I could increase my score maybe to 330.
Mm-hmm.
But that plan backfired, and in my second time I got 318.
Okay.
Even though my quant score improved to 168, but my verbal score was 150.
Okay.
So I and in many universities, you can send any of the scores. So obviously I sent the higher one, the
Mm-hmm.
my first score,
Okay.
and a month later I gave TOEFL, and in that I got 100.
Okay.
So that TOEFL was only one attempt.
Okay, okay, all right, excellent.
Yeah.
So that's also good information that you can actually submit any score. So even if you appear GRE three times and if you think your first or second score was the best, you can choose and pick that.
Yeah, you're
Absolutely. Okay.
correct.
All right. So tell me something more about, how you went about doing your research, which universities you applied to, and which you got admitted to.
So my research obviously started keeping in mind my CGPA and my GRE score. So one thing that lagged in my profile was actually my CGPA. It was a bit low. It was around 7.1.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I couldn't get into ambitious universities that I applied to. And so I would advise that CGPA matters a lot. If you need to get into good universities, you need to have a CGPA of around 8.5 or 9.
Okay.
So, moreover, this data science course is not offered in a lot of universities. It's only offered in selected universities.
Mm-hmm.
You can get Masters of Computer Science in almost every one of them. But Masters of Data Science has just started to get evolved in the US universities. So I had a very limited number of universities, and based on my ranking, based on the university's ranking and my CGPA, my GRE score, I shortlisted some universities. So I also kept in mind that if I would get scholarship, because since I already had 2 foreign internships and 3 work experience, so I was pretty sure of getting scholarships from decent universities.
Mm-hmm.
So I applied to around 9 universities,
Wow.
and
Uh-huh.
this process was quite long. It went over for 2.5 months. First shortlisting universities, then writing your statement of purpose, and getting recommendations from people at work or any professor. So it was quite a cumbersome process, but at the end I got some admits which I could choose from.
Okay. Nine universities, that's a lot of work.
Yeah,
Which nine universities you
yeah, it was.
applied to, Shubham?
So the ambitious universities that I couldn't get admit from, there were 4 universities, and all 4 of them have excellent data science course. So first was Northeastern Boston.
Wow, that's close to
Second
me.
was yeah, it's in Boston only. It was my first choice actually. I was pretty sure of getting admit from them, but
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what happened.
Okay.
So second was University of Washington, Seattle.
Uh-huh.
Third was University of Minnesota, Twin Cities,
Mm-hmm.
and fourth was University of San Francisco. So
Okay.
they have an excellent data science course. It's only 1 year, so that's why I applied there. And the other 5 universities, they were quite safe, and I was pretty sure of getting admit from all of them. So there were Syracuse University, George Washington University in DC, and State University of New York Buffalo, and University of Texas Dallas, and one was University of North Carolina Charlotte.
Wow. Wow, that's a
So
lot of
yeah.
work. Okay. So out of these, which university you got admitted to?
So the universities that I told at the end, all 5 I got admit from,
Wow,
and
amazing.
yeah,
Awesome.
and as expected. And the thing with Syracuse University was that I got a scholarship of 30% on tuition fees. So
Wow.
that's why I was pretty inclined towards Syracuse University, even though University of Texas Dallas has a higher ranking, but I couldn't get any scholarship from them.
Okay.
So that's why I chose
Of course.
Syracuse University.
Scholarship matters, right?
Yeah,
So,
it
so
matters.
what is the fee structure for this Syracuse? How much is the percentage of, or how much, I mean, if you compare to
So
other universities, how expensive it is? I know
yeah,
Syracuse is expensive university.
yeah, it's a private university, so pretty expensive. That's why I was happy that I got a 30% scholarship.
Mm-hmm.
So the tuition fees is it's all about tuition fees. That is the expensive part. Rest is not expensive. So tuition fees is around $60,000 for 2 years,
Wow.
and other than that, there are no fees that the university asks for. It's just health insurance, and that's pretty cheap. It's around $2,000 for 2 years. And regarding rent and living expenses, so Syracuse, since it's a small town, living expenses are not that much.
Okay.
So rent is around $500
Mm-hmm.
average per person monthly, and living expenses are max like 100 to $150.
Wow, you have done quite a bit
Yeah,
research even before coming here.
yeah, actually, yeah, I had a lot of time, so I applied for fall semester, and
Mm-hmm.
then everything got deferred due to this pandemic. So I had a lot of time on my hands, and I talked to almost everyone studying there on LinkedIn, whomever I could find. I
Wow.
messaged, and yeah, and if they replied, I started a conversation with them.
Wonderful. That's awesome. That's really cool. I mean, I really appreciate people
Yeah,
doing research and doing a lot of background work and then coming here. So you do not have any surprises. I mean, there would be bit element of surprise, but not so much. So that's
yeah,
awesome.
correct.
So did you also do research on campus kind of
Yeah,
jobs?
correct. Yeah, yeah. So one of the best advantages of choosing Syracuse is that there are a lot of on-campus jobs,
Mm-hmm.
and they are very easy to get, and the pay is quite nice. So if I get an on-campus job, which I will do, so the pay is around $13 to $14 an hour,
Wow.
right? So if you work like 15 to 20 hours, you can easily make around $800,
Wow.
and your rent and living expenses would total around 600 to 700. So you can actually save
Wow.
working part time.
That's really
And
awesome.
the jobs are like it's related to residential security aid, or diner jobs are there, or you could actually work as teaching assistant or graduate assistant. That's always an option.
Cool.
So yeah,
That's
and
really awesome.
in Syracuse only I found that on-campus jobs are pretty chill. So that was also one of the reasons of choosing Syracuse.
Perfect, perfect. So you did a lot of homework, and that I really
Yeah.
admire. That's really good. Okay, so while you were doing all of this, I know that there are a lot of questions people are asking me as they're appearing for the interviews, coming for their spring and fall. First question is about your F1 visa interview. Did you take any counselor to prepare for your
No, no,
MS?
I did all the preparation myself. I
Wow.
mean, there are many videos over YouTube that we can watch. So I did not take any help from any counselor.
Okay, so you did everything by yourself,
Yeah,
and probably Google was
yeah,
a god for you doing research.
yeah. Google and YouTube.
YouTube.
So
Okay,
these two.
perfect. Okay, so can you just tell something more, like how did you practice years about your F1 visa interview, and then how was your actual F1 visa interview?
So the toughest thing right now was to get slots because they were opening very limited slots, and they opened randomly. So I think people who are still looking for slots, they would know. I personally knew people who couldn't book slots for over a month,
Wow.
and so I was lucky in that sense. I got a slot instantly. Like on my second day when I started looking, I booked my slot. So actually, F1 visa interview, there are pretty straightforward questions, and so they will only ask you a limited number of questions. Like the questions won't be out of the box, right? So you know what they are going to ask, and so I wrote down all the questions. I wrote around 15 to 20 questions that I could find that were repetitive and were almost in every interview.
Mm-hmm.
And so I prepared an answer for myself, and like I kept on reading those questions every day till my interview was approaching, and I knew that F1 interview hyped a lot. So it's just a normal conversation with visa officers. It's nothing. It's not an interview. It's just think that as if you're conversing with the officer, and you will get your visa.
Okay.
That's
So,
it.
uh-huh.
Yeah, no need to be nervous about it.
Okay, yeah, that's a good tip. Yeah, absolutely. People normally get nervous because a lot of things are new. You are interacting with the somebody, who has a different accent, the environment is different,
Yeah,
and of
correct,
course, there's a bit of anxiety whether you would get it or not, right? It's again like 50%
correct.
probability, even though it's a regular conversation. But that's a good tip. So let's jump into the F1 visa interview. How long was your visa interview? Because I get a lot of questions. People are nervous, and what questions were asked. Let's go through your F1 visa interview.
Yes.
Let's start with your F1 visa interview experience. How much time it was, and what questions were asked precisely, and what time it was, how much in advance you went, what you were, everything, everything. So which consulate you went to?
So I live in Delhi, but I
Okay.
had to go to Mumbai
Okay.
because I was eager to book the slots. So my parents said that whichever city you get the slots, just book them.
Okay.
So
Okay.
I booked for Mumbai, both interview and for my biometrics. Some people they have got slots like for interview and biometrics even in different cities. So luckily I got both of them in Mumbai.
Wow. Okay. So you're saying biometrics in different city and interview
Yeah,
in
yeah.
different city.
I know someone who lives in Delhi and his biometric was in Kolkata and his interview was in Mumbai.
Wow. That's quite a bit travel, right? And you get really stressed
Yeah.
when you are doing all these things.
So the timing that I was allotted for interview. So first it was biometrics or OFC day, and that is very normal. You just go in and they will take your fingerprints and they will click your photograph. That's it. Just that is the process on that day. So nothing to be nervous on, at least on that day. And second day is interview day. So my timing was around 10, but I went early. I went around 8, and they let me in. So there's a big queue outside, and they send you in groups. So you're not allowed to go alone. They send you in groups, and everywhere there are lines that you need to wait in. So when my number came, my interview was not very long. It was around 1.5 minutes.
That's
But
it.
at the end, so I was earlier I was earlier I was pretty sure of getting approval because there was no problem in my profile. My financials were strong, and the university was good. But something happened at the end and I panicked, which I'll tell you about. I started with, regular start. Like I greeted him, he greeted me back. He asked me for my I-20 and passport. Then he instantly saw in my I-20 that I have got a scholarship. So he asked about that it's good if you have got a scholarship. And then he asked me about my undergraduate, what I did during my undergraduate. And so one of the questions that surprised me was that he asked me the aspect of data science that I was interested in.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So I worked on data science projects during my internship, and so I related to that these are the aspects that I am interested in, and I think that answer might have gotten me into trouble because of which I was handed a 2-to-1 lead, which I'll tell you about it. So,
Wow. Have any relatives in US or
no,
siblings? Okay.
no, I didn't have any relatives or siblings.
Okay. Okay.
But it's not an issue if even if you have relatives or siblings.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's an issue,
Okay.
and I don't think they reject you on this basis. And then he asked me my travel history. Yeah, he asked me my travel history. I have been to around 10 countries. So he asked specifically that why I went there and with whom I went there. And then straightforward questions like why I chose that university. So I was very well prepared for that. I had 3 points in my mind and I told him about it. And then he asked me that it's a very important question. I believe that one of the most important questions is that you should be able to convince the visa officer that you will return back to India, right, once your masters are over, because it is a non-immigrant visa, and you should be able to convince that you won't be staying there doing a job. So obviously, I was expecting this question that what are your plans after masters? So I related this to my work experience, and I told him that since I have already worked in India for 3 years, and Indian employers, they highly value a US degree. So after completing my masters, I won't be having any trouble in getting a job. And I also added a personal touch to this because I am the eldest child in my family, so I told him that personally also it would be the best fit for me to stay close to my parents.
Mm-hmm.
So he was pretty convinced, and this was his last question. And but then something strange happened which I wasn't expecting.
Mm-hmm.
He gave me a 2-to-1 lead. I got nervous and I panicked. Like earlier, I was confident and I was smiling,
Mm-hmm.
but then